The damage was done. She had no idea that every rolling camera had already caught her red-handed. Before Claressa Shields even stormed away from Alicia Baumgardner yesterday, the internet was already exploding. Social media had the clips. Netflix had the footage. MVP had the moment secured. Yet the same woman who believed she had executed the perfect confrontation had no idea reality had already turned against her. She thought her tracks were clean. She thought nobody would connect the dots. She thought she could walk into that arena, create chaos and leave before the fallout arrived. Instead, the fallout arrived before she even made it out of the building. Welcome back to another breakdown, because this situation goes much deeper than a simple confrontation between two athletes. This was not just about emotions boiling over. This was about ego, attention, branding, corporate power, public image, and a growing desperation that finally exploded in public. Here is where everything truly began. Yesterday, MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, partnered with Netflix for a massive combat sports event. Cameras were everywhere. Flashbulbs were non-stop. Big celebrities occupied the front rows. Major executives moved through the building. Influencers, athletes, reporters, and entertainment personalities all gathered for one purpose: visibility. And seated comfortably near the spotlight was Alicia Baumgardner, looking completely relaxed while the cameras focused directly on her. She looked confident, calm, and fully aware that the media attention surrounding the event naturally flowed in her direction. Then came the moment that changed the atmosphere entirely. A few rows away sat Claressa Shields alongside Papoose, and almost immediately the energy shifted. Instead of appearing composed, they looked uncomfortable, restless, and disconnected from the atmosphere around them. It felt less like two invited stars enjoying the event and more like two people trying desperately to insert themselves into a conversation they were never central to. That context matters, because the larger issue is the contradiction nobody wants to discuss openly. For months, Claressa Shields publicly criticized MVP. She mocked their roster. She dismissed the fighters associated with the promotion. She questioned their legitimacy. She repeatedly positioned herself above the entire organization whenever interviews, live streams, or podcasts gave her the opportunity. The internet remembers all of it. So naturally, people started asking one question immediately. If MVP is supposedly beneath her, why was she attending one of their biggest events? That is where the real story begins. Because the truth is simple. She did not attend for the sport itself. She did not attend because she suddenly respected the promotion. She did not attend because she was interested in supporting the fighters on the card. Her focus was Alicia Baumgardner. The moment Alicia entered her sightline, everything became obvious. Claressa moved aggressively through the crowd, closing distance quickly while security and event personnel tried to monitor the situation. Then came the words that instantly spread online. "I hate your mouth. I hate when you run your mouth." Not once, multiple times. That detail matters because those words reveal the emotional center of the confrontation. She did not criticize Alicia's boxing ability. She did not mention rankings, titles, or competitive accomplishments. Instead, she focused entirely on Alicia's voice, Alicia's visibility, Alicia's public presence. That changes the meaning completely. When someone becomes obsessed with another person's platform, attention, and influence, the conflict stops being athletic and becomes personal. That is what people witnessed during that moment. And then another detail made the situation even worse. Over the same holiday weekend, Claressa reportedly had professional commitments scheduled elsewhere, including appearances connected to her own brand and fan events. People expected her presence. Tickets were sold with the assumption she would attend. Instead, she ended up in New York, surrounding herself with Papoose's family activities before appearing at the MVP event shortly afterward. That timeline immediately created speculation online. People began questioning whether the trip itself had become more about monitoring Alicia's movements than fulfilling her own professional obligations. Once those conversations started, the internet moved quickly. The footage spread everywhere. And while the confrontation unfolded, Papoose remained in the background, looking almost completely passive. He did not meaningfully intervene. He did not visibly calm the situation. He mostly watched as the tension escalated in front of executives, security teams, media personalities, and streaming cameras. Later, when he posted online about having a great night with his beautiful queen, many people felt the caption looked disconnected from the seriousness of what had just happened. That only intensified criticism, because from the outside, it appeared less like damage control and more like an attempt to pretend nothing serious had occurred. Another important layer involves seating and visibility. At major televised events, seating arrangements are never random. Promotions strategically place celebrities, influencers, athletes, and recognizable figures in locations that maximize camera exposure. That is standard entertainment business strategy. People quickly noticed that Claressa Shields, despite being one of the most accomplished women in boxing history, did not receive the same level of visible positioning during the broadcast that other personalities received. That observation fueled another wave of online debate. Many interpreted it as a sign that MVP and Netflix were prioritizing different personalities and different branding directions moving forward. Whether that interpretation is fair or not, it became part of the discussion almost immediately. And psychologically, moments like that matter. When someone who built their identity around dominance suddenly feels overlooked inside a high-profile environment, frustration can escalate quickly. Every camera pointed elsewhere feels intentional. Every missed acknowledgement feels personal. Every moment of applause for someone else feels like disrespect. That emotional pressure can push people into irrational decisions. Which brings us back to the confrontation itself. According to online discussions and previous reports, this was apparently not the first tense interaction between Claressa Shields and Alicia Baumgardner. Fans referenced earlier events where the two were present in the same building and verbal tension reportedly surfaced behind the scenes. Nothing physical happened previously, but observers claimed the hostility had been building for a long time. That makes yesterday feel less like a sudden explosion and more like the climax of a rivalry that had been quietly escalating for months. And then there is the branding issue. Weeks before this confrontation, online users circulated edited promotional graphics that inserted Claressa Shields into MVP marketing images alongside fighters already signed with the organization. When Claressa reposted the image, many fans immediately interpreted it as more than a joke. People began speculating that she understood exactly where the industry's momentum was shifting. Because right now, MVP has enormous visibility. Netflix partnerships bring mainstream attention. Social media engagement around their fighters continues growing. Women's boxing is evolving rapidly, and branding has become almost as important as championships themselves. That creates pressure, especially for athletes who already conquered much of the competitive side of the sport and now face the harder challenge of remaining culturally relevant. That is the deeper issue underneath everything. Claressa Shields has spent years establishing herself as the greatest female boxer of her era. Her accomplishments are undeniable. Olympic gold medals, multiple championships, historic achievements across divisions. Her resume speaks for itself. But maintaining greatness after achieving it is psychologically difficult. Eventually, the challenge shifts from proving yourself inside the ring to maintaining influence outside the ring. New personalities emerge. New stars gain traction. Social media changes attention spans. Promotions evolve. Younger fighters build fan bases differently. That transition is uncomfortable for almost every legendary athlete. And unfortunately, when insecurity mixes with public attention, conflicts become more explosive. What happened yesterday crossed a line for many viewers because it no longer looked like ordinary competitive tension. It looked personal, emotional, and uncontrolled. That distinction matters. Professional rivalries belong inside press conferences, interviews, contracts, and sanctioned fights. When confrontations spill into public venues and nearly become physical in crowded entertainment environments, the conversation changes entirely. And the internet reacted accordingly. Some defended Claressa, arguing that combat sports naturally involve heated emotions and personal rivalries. Others believed Alicia intentionally provoked the situation verbally beforehand. But many people focused on one simple point. Approaching someone aggressively in a public setting creates unnecessary risk, regardless of who started the verbal tension. That criticism became even stronger because Alicia Baumgardner herself appeared relatively calm during the footage. She did not escalate physically. She did not visibly lose control emotionally. She largely allowed security and the environment itself to manage the moment. Ironically, that restraint may have benefited her image enormously, because by the following morning, millions of people who previously paid little attention to Alicia Baumgardner suddenly knew exactly who she was. And that creates a fascinating reversal. The person who allegedly wanted to diminish Alicia's visibility may have unintentionally amplified it instead. Meanwhile, corporate entities like MVP and Netflix likely understood immediately how viral the footage would become. From a media perspective, controversy generates engagement instantly. Clips circulate faster. Discussions expand. Headlines multiply. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, the confrontation became promotional fuel. That is why many observers noticed security did not overreact dramatically. Once the footage existed, the internet would finish the job itself. And it did. By the time people woke up the next morning, the clips were everywhere. Sports pages discussed it. Entertainment blogs reposted it. YouTube channels analyzed it. Fans argued nonstop across social media platforms. The entire situation transformed into a cultural talking point almost overnight. Now attention turns toward the response phase. People expect explanations, clarifications, live streams, interviews, and social media statements. Fans already anticipate competing narratives about who initiated the hostility and what words were exchanged beforehand. But regardless of future explanations, the footage itself already shaped public opinion for millions of viewers. That is the reality of modern celebrity culture. Once the internet locks onto an image, controlling the narrative becomes almost impossible. And beneath all of this sits another uncomfortable truth. Women's boxing is currently undergoing a major evolution. The sport is attracting more visibility, more mainstream partnerships, and larger audiences than ever before. That means public behavior matters more than ever too. Every major incident now carries branding consequences not only for the athletes involved, but for the entire sport itself. That is why this moment feels bigger than a single argument. It exposed tensions surrounding ego, recognition, promotion, marketability, loyalty, and relevance all at once. And perhaps the most revealing detail of all remains the specific wording Claressa repeated during the confrontation. "I hate your mouth. Not your fighting ability. Not your rankings. Not your titles. Your mouth." That statement reveals the real battlefield here. Attention, visibility, public influence, media presence, viral relevance. Because in today's combat sports landscape, championships alone no longer control the spotlight. Personality controls it too. And that reality is changing everything. Meanwhile, Alicia Baumgardner walked away from the entire situation with increased visibility, sympathy from many viewers, and a rapidly growing online conversation surrounding her name. Without throwing a punch outside the ring, she gained momentum. That may ultimately become the most painful outcome for Claressa Shields. Because sometimes the internet does not reward aggression. Sometimes it rewards composure. And whether people support Claressa, Alicia, or neither side at all, one fact is impossible to ignore. The cameras captured everything. The internet archived everything. And moments like this never fully disappear once the digital world decides they matter.